There was once a brother and sister who loved each other dearly. Their mother was dead, and their father had married again, a woman who was most unkind and cruel to them. One day, the boy took his sister's hand and said to her, "Dear little sister, since our mother died, we have not had one happy hour. Our stepmother gives us dry, hard crusts for dinner and supper. She often knocks us about and threatens to kick us out of the house. Even the little dogs under the table fare better than we do, for she often throws them nice pieces to eat. Heaven pity us. Oh, if only our dear mother knew. Come, let us go out into the wide world." So they went out and wandered over fields and meadows the whole day till evening. At last they found themselves in a large forest. It began to rain, and the little sister said, "See, brother, heaven and our hearts weep together." At last, tired out with hunger, sorrow, and the long journey, they crept into a hollow tree, laid themselves down, and slept till morning. When they awoke, the sun was high in the heavens and shone brightly into the hollow tree. So they left their place of shelter and wandered away in search of water. "Oh, I'm so thirsty," said the boy. "If we could only find a brook or a stream." He stopped to listen and said, "Stay, I think I hear a running stream." So he took his sister by the hand, and they ran together to find it. Now, the stepmother of these poor children was a wicked witch. She had seen the children go away, and following them cautiously like a snake, had bewitched all the springs and streams in the forest. The pleasant trickling of a brook over the pebbles was heard by the children as they reached it, and the boy was just stooping to drink when the sister heard in the babbling of the brook, "Whoever drinks of me, a tiger soon will be." Then she cried quickly, "Stay, brother, stay. Do not drink, or you will become a wild beast and tear me to pieces." Thirsty as he was, the brother conquered his desire to drink at her words and said, "Dear sister, I will wait till we come to a spring." So they wandered farther, but as they approached, she heard in the bubbling spring the words, "Who drinks of me, a wolf will be." "Brother, I pray you do not drink of this brook. You will be changed into a wolf and devour me." Again, the brother denied himself and promised to wait. But he said, "At the next stream, I must drink. Say what you will. My thirst is so great." Not far off ran a pretty streamlet, looking clear and bright. But here also, in its murmuring waters, the sister heard the words, "Who dares to drink of me, turned to a stag will be." "Dear brother, do not drink," she began, but she was too late. Her brother had already knelt by the stream to drink, and as the first drop of water touched his lips, he became a fawn. How the little sister wept over the enchanted brother, and the fawn wept also. He did not run away, but stayed close to her. At last she said, "Stand still, dear fawn, don't fear. I must take care of you, and I will never leave you." So she untied her little golden garter and fastened it around the neck of the fawn. Then she gathered some soft green rushes and braided them into a soft string, which she fastened to the fawn's golden collar. She led him away into the depths of the forest. After wandering for some time, they found a little deserted hut, and the sister was overjoyed, for she thought it would form a nice shelter for them both. So she led the fawn in, and went out alone to gather moss and dried leaves to make him a soft bed. Every morning she went out to gather dried roots, nuts, and berries for her own food, and sweet fresh grass for the fawn, which he ate out of her hand. The poor little animal went out with her and played about as happy as the day was long. When evening came and the poor sister felt tired, she would kneel down, say her prayers, and lay her delicate head on the fawn's back, which was a soft, warm pillow on which she could sleep peacefully. Had this dear brother only kept his proper form, how happy they would have been together. After they had been alone in the forest for some time, and the little sister had grown into a lovely maiden and the fawn into a large stag, a numerous hunting party came to the forest. Among them was the king of the country. The sounding horn, the barking of the dogs, and the hello of the huntsman resounded through the forest and were heard by the stag, who became eager to join his companions. "Oh dear," he said, "do let me go and see the hunt. I cannot restrain myself." He begged so hard that at last she reluctantly consented. "But remember," she said, "I must lock the cottage door against those huntsmen. When you come back in the evening and knock, I shall not admit you unless you say, 'Dear little sister, let me in.'" He bounded off as she spoke, scarcely stopping to listen, for it was so delightful to him to breathe the fresh air and be free again. He had not run far when the king's chief hunter caught sight of the beautiful animal and started to chase him. But it was no easy matter to overtake such rapid footsteps. Once, when he thought he had him safe, the fawn sprang over the bushes and disappeared. As it was nearly dark, he ran up to the little cottage, knocked at the door, and cried, "Dear little sister, let me in." The door was instantly opened, and oh, how glad his sister was to see him safely resting on his soft, pleasant bed. A few days after this, the huntsmen were again in the forest, and when the fawn heard the hello, he could not rest in peace, but begged his sister again to let him go. She opened the door and said, "I will let you go this time, but pray, do not forget to say what I told you when you return this evening." The chief hunter very soon spied the beautiful fawn with the golden collar, pointed it out to the king, and determined to hunt it. They chased him with all their skill till the evening, but he was too light and nimble for them to catch, until a shot wounded him slightly in the foot, so he was obliged to hide himself in the bushes. After the huntsmen were gone, he limped slowly home. One of them, however, determined to follow him at a distance and discover where he went. What was his surprise to see him go up to a door, knock, and hear him say, "Dear little sister, let me in." The door was opened only a little way and quickly shut, but the huntsman had seen enough to make him full of wonder. When he returned and described to the king what he had seen, the king said, "We will have one more chase tomorrow and discover this mystery." In the meantime, the loving sister was alarmed to find the stag's foot wounded and bleeding. She quickly washed off the blood, and after bathing the wound, placed healing herbs on it and said, "Lie down on your bed, dear fawn, and the wound will soon heal if you rest your foot." In the morning, the wound was much better, and the fawn felt the foot almost as strong as ever. When he again heard the hello of the hunters, he could not rest. "Oh, dear sister, I must go once more. It will be easy for me to avoid the hunters now, and my foot feels quite well. They will not hunt me unless they see me running, and I don't mean to do that." But his sister wept and begged him not to go. "If they kill you, dear fawn, I shall be here alone in the forest, forsaken by the whole world, and I shall die of grief." He said, "If I remain here listening to the hunter's horn." So, at length, his sister, with a heavy heart, set him free, and he bounded away joyfully into the forest. As soon as the king caught sight of him, he said to the huntsman, "Follow that stag, but don't hurt him." So they hunted him all day. But at the approach of sunset, The king said to the hunter who had followed the fawn the day before, "Come and show me the little cottage." So they went together, and when the king saw it, he sent his companion home and went on alone, arriving there before the fawn. Going up to the little door, he knocked and said softly, "Dear little sister, let me in." As the door opened, the king stepped in, and in great astonishment saw a maiden more beautiful than he had ever seen in his life standing before him. But how frightened she felt to see a noble gentleman walk in instead of her dear little fawn with a gold crown on his head. However, he appeared very friendly, and after a little talk, he held out his hand to her and said, "Wilt thou go with me to my castle and be my dear wife?" "Ah, yes," replied the maiden. "I would willingly, but I cannot leave my dear fawn. He must go with me wherever I am." "He shall remain with you as long as you live," replied the king. And at that moment, the fawn bounded into the room. His sister fastened the string to his collar, and they left the little cottage together. The king lifted the beautiful maiden onto his horse and rode to his castle, where the wedding was celebrated with great splendor. The fawn was tended with care, and he gamboled about the royal gardens. The wicked stepmother had come to believe that the wild beasts in the forest had long ago devoured the children, but she found out that they were safe and happy. Their happiness was her ruin. Soon after, she died, and the curse was broken. The fawn turned back into a human and lived happily with his sister and the king forever. After hearing this story, think about the power of love, loyalty, and sacrifice between the brother and sister. They faced hardships, but stayed together through everything. What would you do for someone you care deeply about? How far would you go to protect them, even when the world feels against you? Maybe there's someone in your life right now who needs you to stand by their side. Reflect on the relationships you cherish. Are you ready to show the same kind of strength and commitment? Think about it. If you have any question, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe to our channel for more stories.